It's a gray, late February day on a Sunday, and I'm in Poughkeepsie, New York, and I'm looking at the remnants of a huge old psychiatric hospital that looks like it's in the process of being demolished, and a lot of significant buildings. There used to be more going this way. That could have been like the headmaster's house back in the day. But this is a video to show some huge campuses in the New York area that are north of the city in Westchester and Dutchess counties. And take a look at this one from different angles, as well as a modern hospital that's right near here, and look at some other ones that are barely open. They're being kept open by caretakers, the campuses, or they're minimally occupied. But talking more about the reasons that I'm taking a picture of these hospitals and shooting videos of them, it's part of a bigger discussion which I'll talk about later. This is a video about former psychiatric hospitals in the northern New York City area that are either under the wrecking ball or are sitting virtually dormant in Westchester County and further north up in Dutchess County. And I wanted to go see these hospitals and film them together as a group. And as a group, when all the facilities were operating at full capacity in the 1950s, they totaled about 15 to 20,000 beds for mostly psychiatric patients, but also some mentally disabled children and adults, as well as the criminally insane. And I'm going to show you each of these hospitals working up from White Plains north up to Dutchess County, and I'll put the number of beds that each of the facilities reached maximum capacity at on the screen. But I just thought this was an interesting topic. It's something that's been discussed in other YouTube videos about what to do with, there seems to be an increasing number of people that are in society, on the subway system, laying around in train stations, not getting any kind of psychiatric care, and possibly being a danger to themselves as well as the general public, and whether you could reopen some of these hospitals that were big back in the day, 60, 70 years ago, or is there some other solution to the problem? But whatever the current situation is, it doesn't seem to be working and doesn't seem to be the right solution. So I just wanted to take a look at these facilities just to show you the size. And this was the way psychiatric care went into the 1950s and 1960s. And then as psychotherapy drugs were developed, it was felt that there'd be less of a need for inpatient care and people could be moved back into society. So the pendulum swings from one end to the other. And I just wanted to show you what it was like when the pendulum swung towards these large facilities that mostly are still standing north of New York City. So let's take a look. This is one facility that is under the wrecking ball mostly. There'll be some buildings that will be saved at a former Hudson River State Hospital just north of Poughkeepsie on Route 9. And we'll go and take a look at other hospital campuses. And the first one will be in White Plains. Right across from the Westchester Mall here in White Plains, in Westchester County, we have the New York Hospital, Psychiatric Hospital campus, and it has some older buildings there and some long-term residential buildings kind of in the Victorian style. And it's a nicely landscaped campus. The landscaping was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. So we're on Bloomingdale Road, and we're going to go by a Bloomingdale's store, and believe it or not, the road is not named after the store. Just a coincidence. So the campus of the psychiatric hospital is up on the hill. You can sort of see some buildings through the woods, but we'll go around the other side and show you the expansiveness of the area. Campus has a lot of woods, but it also has open meadows too. So we'll go up here to Bryant Avenue to go around the southern end of the campus, going north along the eastern end of the campus, or east along the southern end of the campus. I can't remember my directions, but the campus of the New York hospital has this high fence all the way around it, and they used to leave a gate open so that you could go in and go running or whatever, but they've stopped that, and it's got a secure perimeter. Like a low density residential development for developmentally challenged adults. And where there used to be a hospital, it's now a senior assisted living complex. So you can see some of the houses of the doctors through there that are for the hospital. Some of them are no longer lived in, but, and there's the main building of the New York hospital here in White Plains, New York. Driving up to see two old psychiatric hospital campuses, and we're in Putnam County and headed for Dutchess County, and we're going through what might be considered the lower Berkshires. We're running up north, sort of along the Connecticut border, and going far, far out of the New York City suburban area. This might be considered exurban. And you can see a brick chimney here, and I believe this is the beginning of the Harlem Valley Wingdale campus along Route 22 in Dutchess County. It's huge. I guess that chimney is to a power plant, and there's more of the buildings here, and they even have their own train station. Let's just pull in here and we'll stop and take a closer look at Harlem Valley Wingdale. So this just shows you more of the power plant and back office part of this huge campus, and we're on the train platform of the Harlem Valley Wingdale station. We're like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours north of Grand Central in Manhattan. Now has a sign that says Olivet University. So there might be like limited security. And I know up until a couple of years ago, there were people still residing here into the 2000s. I don't know if there are any now. but it's something that such campuses were built, and it's still here. I don't know if they've knocked any of the buildings down, but I'm sure a lot of them are empty and unutilized. Harlem Valley, Wingdale in Dutchess County, New York. One last look at the campus. And now we're going to continue to go north up Route 22. I was just curious as to what Dover Plains train station looks like. Look at that church. And there's a train coming into the station, so we came here at a good time. Look at this big building with a mansard roof, like it used to be an inn. So let's just go over here and see what there is to see here. Where's the train coming from? It's only a single track line here, so it can only be coming from one direction or the other at one time. Let me get out. Metro North train. Pretty long train too for a Sunday. Pretty impressive to have a train service like this in a little town like Dover Plains. So I guess the station is actually down here. Before it leaves the station. I mean, it's a modern, high-level platform station, no less. We are way out in the country, so it's amazing that they have such a suburban type service. And it has another stop north of this, Wassaic, which is where we're headed to. So, which is like 5 miles north of here, I believe. There it goes. Decent sized parking for a town this far north. Dover Plains. Now we're coming up on the next big former psychiatric hospital complex. And there's a station here too. It's on the same line, the Harlem line, called the 10 Mile River. Maybe that's the 10 Mile River there. It's probably 10 miles long. And let's see if we can drive in. You used to be able to, but let's see. There's a station. Well, this is the area for the parking. So we'll see some of the campus up there. So it's another nice looking station here in the middle of nowhere. Get out and take a look. So here's the 10 Mile River station. And this is the edge of the campus of the Wassaic Developmental Center, which I want to take a look at. Handicapped accessible, a nice ramp. Metro North is always good about promoting recycling. So I'll get the ridership figures here for some of these northern stations. But it's quite something that they are so nicely designed, have high-level platforms. Sign tells you when the next trains are coming. So the next train that is coming at 2:19 is going southbound to the town of Southeast, so that's in another half hour. Here's their ticket vending machine. It's always easy to figure out. Very nice. 10-Mile River. Now it says Taconic Developmental Disability Services Office, but I don't know if there are any residents that live here. We'll see. Building. Very close to the train station. And let's see. There's different ways we could go. Safety, security, these are all the offices and shops. So let's go up here and see if there's anything to see in the main part of the campus. But it's another thing, just like Harlem Valley and Wingdale, that has a lot of plants associated with a big residential facility that this used to be. Sort of newer looking dorms, but maybe they're not. Maybe it just was stuccoed over brick. So here we are coming up on the main part of the campus. They've talked about redeveloping this and having someone be interested in buying it for like a corporate campus, but that's never happened. It's one of the reasons they built the train station there, was to make it more attractive for potential economic development. I mean, a lot of money was once invested here when it was an ongoing operation. Let's just see. I mean, so many buildings. Just huge. Its own little road network. I mean, to use an analogy, it's as big as a Big Ten university campus. That's how many buildings are here and how much property is here. I just wonder if this open space here, there used to be buildings and they were torn down. I seem to remember this road when there were buildings right around the loop. The one time I was here before. It's got street lights, recreation center, therapeutic, pool, cafe. I'm just panning the camera around so you get a feeling of the size of this place. Lots of picnic tables. I mean, it's a pretty area. You can see the hills in the background there. church building. Maybe residences for the staff. That road's not plowed. All right, go down that road. Let's see here. Let's see. I'll go one way this way. I'll follow the signs, even though I'm the only one here. So, like, here's some former residences for the staff that are all overgrown. Basketball court. I mean, someone's plowing the roads of snow. So it makes you wonder whether it still is being utilized. There's not a soul here. Guess we have to go around the back of these buildings. I might be on a huge dead end. Let's see. This is where they had a sign that there was a cafe and such. I think this is a dead end here. Back from whence we came. At least it hasn't been vandalized. There's that basketball court again. It is fenced off, so I don't see a lot of animal tracks, maybe like deer running through the campus that are blocked by the fence. So, look at this, roof is caved in. Park Place and Academy Street. So some of those roofs were caved in. Looks like a church over there, yeah. So this is not that far away from the Harlem Valley Wingdale Center. It's almost like when you think about it, you wonder, am I thinking about the same place? But it's two separate facilities. So somebody's here. They're going to wonder what I'm doing driving around. Try not to be too obtrusive. It has its own bus stop. I've almost wanted to call this style of architecture Art Deco, but it's not quite that. So I'm not sure exactly when this was built. Really overgrown here. Hasn't been used for some time. I'm filming this on March 27th, 2022. And it's about, we have snow on the ground. It snowed on Friday. And it's about 40 degrees today, maybe a little less. So So that seems to have been most of the campus, unless I'm missing a whole nother section over here. It's just a beautiful area. You can see the surrounding hills. So there's more of the industrial plant down there. It supports the facility, and more of the dorms. I don't know how you get into that area up there, but it goes on. And then the train station where we started is right down here. So you can call it the 10-mile facility or the Wasaic Center, or it's also called the Taconic Center. But we're in Wasaic, New York, in Dutchess County. And there's the train station down there, the 10-mile river station. This has been Wasaic. Oh, I'll go up this hill, this road here. It is plowed. Let's see what this takes us to. Takes us to someone's house, really. I don't know whether looks like nobody's used the driveway. Maybe this was the head of the facility's house. But I thought it might take us up to, you can sort of see some buildings through the trees here, but I don't see a road that's plowed that gets there. So anyway, that was one little add-on to the tour of the Wasaic Developmental Center here in Dutchess County. Okay, here's the Wasaic train station. It's out of town a little bit. The town is cute and sort of decrepit. And I just saw a southbound train leave this station. I believe this is the end of the line. And the one time I was here before, in the parking lot here, there were a fair amount of cars with like Massachusetts license plates. So I think a lot of people come here and maybe go into New York for the weekend and park their car, leave it here, and then take the train into the city. But it's a nice train station, modern, just like the other ones on this stretch of the line here in Wasaic. Just another view of the Wasaic station as we approach it from the east, headed west. You can see the hills in the background. High-level platforms. Wasaic. Give you a quick view of the Wasaic station. Right along Route 22. Fairly long platform, but the trains can be fairly long coming up here. And so when it says the destination is Wasaic, this is Wasaic, which means this is the end of the line. I know there's been talk about extending it further north, even as far north as Millerton. But it's a real credit to Metro North that they've extended this far north, Wasaic. I think where Google is taking me is to this large complex up on the hill, but we'll see. Take a look. Better not go up with that kind of sign. Let's see if we can see something from the road. College. This is a friendlier approach, maybe, to the big psychiatric hospital on the Hudson, just north of Poughkeepsie. We'll see how close we can get. I know you can see it from Route 9, but Google is taking me on back roads to get here, but I'll stop when it says
right onto Cheney Drive.
No entrance allowed. Well, let's see here. This is very strange with boarded up houses.
Continue on Cheney Drive for half a mile.
Good sized brick structure there. Road closed. So I can make a left. Can't go that way. Main entrance, visitor parking, Rainbow Car Wash, Cleveland Building.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Hilltop Ross Circle.
We will see. Somewhat old building there. Office of Mental Health. I'll put the camera down if somebody doesn't want me to be filming. Definitely won't film if there's any patients. I got camera shy when I got to the top of the hill and I saw this hospital, which is the former Hudson River Psychiatric Center, which wasn't what I was looking for. It's a more modern facility, but it also is closed. But when I drove up to it, it's just huge. And so I was really concerned that it was still open and that I might be approached by security, but that turned out to not be the case, as there are no patients here anymore. And I think the patients that were here were transferred to the Rockland County Psychiatric Center across the Hudson River. And so this looks like it was built in the 1940s or 50s. And it's just a huge hospital, but it's totally closed. So it's another one of the hospitals in the area north of New York City that used to have a lot of patients. If I can find that number of beds in this facility, I'll put that on the screen. Hudson River Psychiatric Center, north of Poughkeepsie in New York. There's like Victorian buildings. It's the campus of the old psychiatric hospital here on the Hudson, just north of Poughkeepsie, just north of Marist College. Finally, there's a view of this old psychiatric hospital campus from the parking lot of a ShopRite right next door, and a lot of construction vehicles here, and it looks totally abandoned. But what a structure, what a campus. Look at the one building, it looks like it's totally falling apart, like the ruins of a castle. So this is another big psychiatric facility, and you can see more along the highway, Route 9, which runs along parallel to the Hudson River. But a lot of those buildings I think have been knocked down, but these still remain. And I think historic preservationists are fighting to keep them, but whether that's a losing battle or not, I do not know. Anyway, I'll put the official name of the facility, at least what it was called. But it's really something, huh? It just shows you the level and of the size of these facilities that were built back in the late 1800s. With some, this is more modern edition right here on the right. So I hope it gives you the idea of the scale, along with the other facilities here in the New York area.